Now, how'd you get to New Albany?
Okay? So, one day we're working. Well, let me go. Okay, so we're working this, and I have a friend named Barry Grisham at Grisham's Lumber in Blue Mountain. And I went to Barry, and I said, Barry, if you were going to get a contractor to build something, and you weren't going to be there, who would you get? He said, Joel, there's only one person that I know who you need. His name is Jerry Bramlett. He lives in Blue Springs, but he used to be a highway patrolman. He is the only builder that is unbelievably gifted as far as it's straight, it's plumb, it's level, it's perfect, and he's honest, and he was only going to charge you what he should charge you and never pay a penny more. So you need to get Mr. Bramlett to build, especially Joel, you're not going to be here when all this is going on, you'll be in Vegas. Right. So I called Mr. Bramlett. He said, Joel, I can't get to you for about 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months or whatever. I said, Mr. Bramlett, that's okay because I'm not in a hurry. So just when you get ready, call me. And sure enough, in about 2 months, 3 months, he called, and then he and I got started. And all the stuff that you see is Mr. Bramlett. What happened was I drew it out, and I'm a Mickey Mouse little architect, but I know what I want. I drew it out. Mr. Bramlett covered up all my mistakes. And then when Donna decorated, as you see, then she covered, if he did make a mistake, which he hardly did, she covered it up so no one saw it. So what you see is what Donna created in her mind, but I designed the floor plan and Mr. Bramlett built it. Okay. And to tell you how that kind of worked is one day I'm in Vegas and my phone rings and Mr. Bramlett says, Joel, I don't know how y'all do it in Vegas, but we hardly ever put a wall through the middle of the bathtub. I said, what? He said, Joel, I got your drawings back. And when I gave you the dimensions of 25 feet wide and 100 feet long, that's your building, but Joel, that's the outside of your building. Your building inside is not that thick, not that big, because you have 3 brick thick and 3 bricks thick. So you're not working with 25 feet and 100 feet. You're working with less than that. He said, but don't worry, I adjusted it, we're fine. The bathtub does not have a wall going through it anymore. So that was the kind of thing that we dealt with took about 14 months to build this place. Okay. So we're still building, and we were going to go to lunch one day. And I said, you know what, let's go down to West Side Barbecue in New Albany. So Donna and I take off to West Side Barbecue. On the way through town in New Albany, Hamilton Hardware had got sold about a week before that. There was a big sign in the window that said, building for sale. And I said, oh, Donna, we got to look at that one because let's just look at it. She says, no, I know what you'll do. You'll go in there and you'll buy it. So no, we're not stopping because enough's enough. One building's enough. I said, come on, let's just look. Anyway, I talked her into it. So I called a gentleman named Bill Robertson who owned the building. And I told him, I said, Bill, I just want to look. I'm not really ready. I just want to look at it. He said, that's fine, Joel. So y'all go to West Side Barbecue, come back, call me, and I'll do you a tour of the building. So we walk into the building, we walk to the very back, and there is the set of gears this big. It's on a pulley system, and the elevator had a 2,500-pound counterweight. You could drive a Volkswagen on that elevator and do it with one hand, but it was a rope. But I thought, that is the coolest elevator I have ever seen. I said, Donna, we got to buy this one just for the elevator. She says, I knew that was going to happen, and sure enough, so we bought that building. So we bought that one, and we finished this one, and then we started work on that one. And that's how Hamilton Place started. It was Hamilton Hardware. We just turned it into Hamilton Place. And now it's turned into 6 condos. Then I live in the top because my wife passed away about a month ago. And then in the bottom we have about 5 businesses. So we rent 5 businesses, we rent 6 condos, and then I live in the top. Okay. And this is going to sound boastful, and just let it be boastful. But we had that building down there for about almost 10 years. It has been 100% occupied except for 3 days. Because we always have a waiting list for the businesses, and we always have a long waiting list for the residences upstairs. So we've been very, very blessed, thank you, Lord. Real lucky, and that's been a that's a thank you, New Albany. That's been a good business venture, and it's fun. So that's how that started, but it was a derivative of this because I was hungry and I wanted West Side barbecue. So we're down there, and there was a restaurant in Ashland, Mississippi called Chow Chow. And it was owned by Mike and Tim, who I got to be friends with after we went over there because it had delicious food. It's Italian food. And for 2 years, I begged them to move to New Albany. Finally, after 2 years of me begging, they did. So they put a restaurant in the Henderson building. And the restaurant was so good and so busy that I would come in to eat and Mike would do this. Because he was so appreciative of me coming down there because that restaurant did very, very well. And most of the time when you go in, you just sit there for 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and you wait because it was just that good. But they only open Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, like a lot of Mississippi. But anyway, so about a year ago, maybe a little more, not much more, Mike passed away. And a good friend of mine, and he and Tim owned it together. And so Tim called me and said, Joel, would you help me sell the restaurant? Because I really don't, my heart's not in it, you know what I'm talking about. And I said, sure, so I go down there. Well, then I walk through the whole building. Okay, so now I think I got to buy that building. So I talked to a lady named Jean Ashcraft, and she said she'd sell it, and instead of just selling Tim's, help him sell the restaurant, I bought the building. What I have always known all my life is you do not own a really good restaurant. If you have a really good restaurant, it owns you. But I wanted the building so bad that now I do own a restaurant, which does own me. In the last 6 months, I think I played golf 5 times, and I used to play 5 times a week. So it's already settled in. Now, Joel, that restaurant owns you, and we're not even cooking yet. But we're working at it, and as you know, Leanne has a hotel upstairs, and it's going to be modeled after this one here, and people come look at it and see what's going to go down there. The people that have are very tickled and excited because now in New Albany, in downtown, we're going to have a knockout hotel that people will want to stay, because downstairs we get the same people over and over and over. If we get you one time, we'll keep you. That's just good business. So down there we'll have a speakeasy, a spa, really, really good restaurant, and a hotel upstairs. But it started right here from me not being able to sleep one night. It grew because I wanted barbecue one day at lunch, and then it really grew because I'm so stupid I wanted another old building. We're hoping within 3 to 5 months we'll be ready for the restaurant. The moment the restaurant's through, we'll start work on the hotel. But the good thing about it is the spa downstairs, since the city made me take everything out and start pretty much from scratch in the building, we had to do a whole bunch of structural reconstruction, take out beams, take out floor joists, take out everything. So when I had to build all that back to put the floor in the restaurant, now I've got all that infrastructure already finished for the spa. So to be truthful, Leanne, it's not going to take very long for the spa. The next thing happens is the people come in to build the kitchen. I don't know anything about building a kitchen. Mr. Bramlett's never built a kitchen. Also, Mr. Bramlett built this, then he built Hamilton Place. Now he's helping me with that one. He's 83 years old. If it's not dead level and dead level plumb, you just tear it down and start over. And that's the way when you go down there, you'll see all the floor, everything is absolutely perfect, because that's the way, Jerry, if you don't do it like that, you just get yelled at. So the spas will come on even before we thought, because we're doing all the structure underneath it, but the restaurant opens first for sure. So it's the restaurant, spa, or hotel, and then we're going to have a speakeasy on the other side. We're going to extend the back porch and make a big outside seating area in the back, And there's a lot of stuff we want to do to it, but the other thing excited about that building, across the street from us is a restaurant that was called The Rainy. Okay, there's a friend of mine who I've eaten with for 10 years. His name is Moses, and he owns El Agave, Mexican restaurant. He owns that one in New Albany, he owns one in South Haven, he owns one in Tupelo, he owns one in Oxford. He is a very, very successful restaurateur. He decided to do something with the Rainy building. So he's going to open a restaurant over there. I've never owned a restaurant. I just hope, pray mine is successful. His is going to be successful. And he and I kid back and forth all the time, like, okay, Oxford has a square, but we got the corner. And we want to have our corner in downtown New Albany be the draw of this part of the country, because we've all gone to Tupelo forever to eat. We've all gone to Oxford. It doesn't take the Oxford people any longer to get to us than it takes us to do them. And we want to have such a good draw and such a good influence on downtown New Albany that a lot of our customers are from somewhere they would have never been in town, but they're coming to see and eat in downtown. Okay. My restaurant is going to have a Cajun theme to it. When I lived in Vegas, I have a very good friend. Her name is Lola. She owned a restaurant out there named Lola. She's had it for 15 years. And I would take all my customers to eat there when I was in sales. And they all loved it. And she and I got to be very good friends. And so she's already flown down a couple times. But we're going to make our restaurant the mirror image of her restaurant, because I know hers is successful. I have been in there eating, and people sitting beside me at another table would talk about how good the food is, and they'd say, this is better than it being at home. And I'd say, where y'all from? They'd say, New Orleans. So her restaurant is as good as anything in New Orleans, and all I want to do is copy her restaurant and make it exactly, precisely, where you can't tell the difference if you're eating in Las Vegas or you're eating in Ripley, Mississippi. The other thing we can do that we know will help Ripley, in New Albany, is she was on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It's a TV show that a lot of people know about it, a lot of people don't, but people do. And it increased her business to make it go through the roof when she got on that TV show. So what we're going to be able to do is on the Interstate 22, we will have a big regular highway sign that says Miss Lola's, and the Miss is for Mississippi, but Miss Lola's DDD affiliate restaurant. And the people are going down that interstate, they hit their phone, they say, where's the closest DDD restaurant? It's in New Albany, Mississippi. And they'll get off that interstate. And otherwise, they would just go right by our little town, they'd never stop, but I just want to give them one more reason to stop. So what Moses and I are hoping is we'll do good, but we want New Albany to do good. And it'll help everybody in downtown New Albany, because we want to get people off that interstate that would never stop. We want to get people from Corinth to come to eat over here, and I want people from Olive Branch to come down to our restaurant. That's what the plan is. Okay?
What are you going to do after that?
Go play golf. Go play golf, I hope.
Back to 5 times a week.
I hope so. I hope so.
Great.